Hey there, adventurers. If you're excited about 13th Age 2nd Edition like I am, we're about to check it out, so get ready to roll those dice. The escalation die is in full effect. Let's go! I'm Sacred, and today we're going to be going through 2nd Edition 13th Age by Pilgrim Press. And I've been excited for this one for a while. Me going through revamped class powers to revitalize monsters, changes to the icon system too. So let's take a look. Go right over to the campaign here. Thrilled to present, we are back. Look at that massive escalation die in the back there. I kind of like this, so they got this little D12, the icon D12. I kind of dig that. Obviously, you could just make that work yourself, but it's got the symbols on it. All right, so the revamped class powers are hard choices equal good choices. I agree. Brings crunchy but streamlined D20 rolling combat to the table. Everyone has their moment in the spotlight, and they revised every core, class, spell, power, and talent to give players a wide array of effective options to choose from. I will say this, for anyone who is not super aware with 13th Age, but we'll start right out the gate with a minor criticism. If you do not enjoy board game isms in your TTRPGs, in my opinion, this game does have that. And it had it in the first edition. Looks like it has it in the second edition from what I can tell. If that bothers you, just keep that in mind. But if you can get over it, there's a lot of other really cool stuff that really brings the game together, whether you're taking things from this game and inputting them into your Dungeons and Dragons, 5th edition, Savage Worlds, ICRPG, Shadow Dark, whatever it is. Or if you want to just fully just jump in, it does have that board game aspect to it, which honestly for me, depending on my mood, sometimes I dig it and sometimes I don't. It just kind of, I think it depends on what I played last leading up to that, to be perfectly honest. So we do also have the revitalized monsters, which seems pretty cool. So they've learned a lot. Yeah, they're making them a lot better. The thing that I must have saw that broke it down more must have been in their little play test here. They do have mooks similar to Savage Worlds, extras, whatever you want to call them, where you can kind of just slice through. I think it's like the hack cleave. I think it's cleave, where, you know, kind of similar to like Lord of the Rings. This way you're 10 people or less, let's be honest, 4, 5, 6 people are killing dozens of enemies and just slicing through them. It's very similar to scenes that happen in Lord of the Rings. They're counting how many orcs and goblins and stuff they're killing. All right, character's backstory shapes the game. They're bringing back things like one unique thing. The icon system is still there. It looks like they're just more fleshed out, and the one unique thing just also feels more fleshed out. In addition to like your background, not too different from what you might expect from like 5th edition, Savage Worlds, and they're just building upon it. The character is significant, and they do mention, so here's, if you're unfamiliar with some of the icon connections, they've kind of got a lot of the similar tropes that you've seen across multiple fantasy genres, things like the Emperor, the Elf Queen, Prince of Shadows, the Great Old Worm, and this is meant to reflect Greek heroes and their complicated relationships with the gods, which is actually like a perfect example. And it also gives you mechanical and narrative advantages, which is pretty sweet. Interesting consequences, I like it. Okay, so Rob says, honestly, the icon rules as presented in the first edition were indecipherable and harder to use than they should be. So they've streamlined it, which is awesome. Narratively, mechanically, changed them so you roll for a twist after using the connection. Okay. Yeah, whereas it was kind of a little bit more on the GM in the first edition, in my opinion. So they are bringing you the Player's Handbook and the Game Master's Guide. The Player's Handbook, you're looking at 240 pages. Game Master's Guide, 160 pages. And also, so except for the original core book and the first edition GM screen, everything else published for first edition 13th Age is still good. You can still use it, which is sweet. Mix and match from any book, great. So you can go ahead and use like the Great Ghoul from the bestiary too. Stretch goals. So this is kind of where we're at now. Yep, ribbons. Man, I've really been loving ribbons lately. Principal icon tokens. All right. Solo introductory adventure. Okay, VTT support. We're crushing it. So right now it's just the second edition quick start rules is the only thing that's left here. And then we have our pledge tiers. This table breaks it down pretty good. Pretty good if you can see that clearly. And this just kind of goes through everything. One thing I do want to note, at the time of recording this, there are 17 hours left to jump on the early bird. I'm going to try and get this video out as soon as possible so you have time to take advantage of that if you're interested. Those special die are really speaking to me. Yeah, and then things are getting real crazy here. And you've got your add-ons. Okay, nice little map, dice tray. These dice are pretty solid with the little 13th age logo on it, but the giant escalation die, I'm interested in that. I mean, I do have a big D6, but I like that one. And I like this, the icon die as well. That's pretty awesome. Kind of breaking down the prices for the player's handbook. The prices here. There's quite a few options because you do still have the early bird. Here we go. Yeah, so 17 hours left for the Hungry Maw being one of them. And the other one is this guy, Bullet. So it is going to be level 1 through 10, which I dig that. Got your uniques, your one unique thing. The example they give is pretty cool. I'm a dwarf who was born covered in scales from the egg of a dragon. I hear pain as music. I'm the oldest elf in the world, stuff like that. So in addition to what may happen to you in your story, you do have those. And they do mention that there's going to be some modifications to the character classes. Character classes are similar to 5th edition, but they want to change the balance. So then you do have your backgrounds. For example, they have the military chef. You'll be good at cooking, adventure-worthy, herbalism, military protocol, effectively managing underlings, buttering up superiors, diffusing arguments among young toughs before they turn into fistfights. It's also possible that with this background, your character is terrible at cooking. It's fair. Military chef, I get it. And then you can even go to a specific detail to the level of military chef in the Crusader's kitchen. Similar to what you might do in 5th edition. Hey, because I have this background as a bounty hunter, would I know more about this? Would I be able to do this a little better? Kind of give you like a roll with advantage type situation. They have that here. They're just drawing more attention to it. I feel like there's not a ton of attention on that for 5th edition. The escalation die. For anyone who does not know, the escalation die is, it starts at 0 on the first round of combat. And after so let's say the second round, it'll go up to a 1, and then a 2, and then a 3. So on round 7, and every round after that, it'll be on a 6. What does this mean? This means that you and sometimes the enemy are going to be adding that to their rolls. So combat is getting deadlier over time, which I dig that. And the game is built around this concept. So it's not necessarily that you get OP. If you were to just add that into a system that wasn't built around it, it wouldn't work as well. It would feel a little overpowered. Because this is built around it, it's great. Positioning. I like what I'm reading here. This is, it sounds like they're doing away with the specifics from what I can tell, and you're gonna have tactical options without having to be so focused on grid combat. Okay, yep, they're going into the balance. They got the monsters mentioned here. And here's one of those board game isms that I mentioned, triggered attacks. Attack triggers off the number rolled on the basic attack. So even the monsters are doing things like that. A shared creative world, that's what I'm digging. Set in the Dragon Empire. Icons, this is what I want to talk about. The signature new feature in 13 Age is the concept of icons. It has roots in some of our favorite classic tabletop role-playing games. Yep, I agree. So they take this idea that they had, and they turn it into a powerful mechanic, help define the setting, and yeah, this is gonna shape your world. So depending on what you're doing on a much lower level, I see some similarities like Blades in the Dark and their faction system, but the difference is that these are just massive, incredibly powerful, borderline deity level. So the things that you're doing may or may not go against what they're trying to accomplish. It may help what they're trying to accomplish. What's the fallout of that? So you may get benefits from that. They may want to interact with you or someone who works Four of them may want to interact with you. So at the lowest level, the icons connect one way or another to each character, positive, negative, or ambiguous. And this is going to help shape your character and help shape the world, which is pretty sweet. And why does the world need heroes? Because they're busy. They're busy doing other shit. So that's where you guys come in. Conversational style of gaming, I dig that. And they want this game to be like how they game, which makes sense. So this is primarily going to be the 2 books that we looked at in the Kickstarter, revisiting the classes, as we mentioned. I don't want to go too deeply into the mechanics necessarily, because this is probably going to change. Here is an example of like the bard talents. Then you got your adventurer feat, your champion feat, your epic feat. Gain all benefits listed as brass adventurer feats. For trumpet call brassy, you get the horns and piercing tones. Revisiting the kin. Yep, so they're similar to some other RPGs, Pathfinder 2nd edition, kind of changing how they're looking at what was once called races, and then also like the benefits of those. Each icon, so they're going back into the icons here, each icon gets a fuller treatment, including possible ideas for organizations that might support or oppose them. Yeah, I'm kind of seeing a little bit of overlap with Blades in the Dark, just a very different flavor. They do have the monster special attacks. They do mention here that the dragons, they almost want them to be like the dragons on the same level as the player, if not higher, which definitely makes sense. They have these flip you tricks. So in the case of a dragon, it uses its godlike reflexes to re-roll initiative, start of combat only. That's one of those board game isms that, depending on how you feel about it, could take you out of the game in a sense, but you could also be all for it. For me, it just really depends on my mood based on what I've been playing recently. Battle design, magic items, of course. The original edition's not obsolete, which we talked about. Some sweet art, love it. And that is 13th Age. You don't have a whole lot of time if you want to jump on the early bird section. So are you excited yet? Are you running over to Kickstarter right now to grab this? I have not grabbed it yet. I need to do it today. I just wasn't sure what I'm gonna grab. Yeah, 13th Age. It's gonna be dope. 2nd edition, let's go. My name is Sacred. If you've enjoyed this content, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube jazz, and we'll be bringing, this is obviously time sensitive. I wanted to hurry up and bring this to your attention because I've been waiting for this for a while, just in case it slipped through the cracks for you. Thanks for joining me on breaking this down. Sacred, out.